Thank you.
Okay, so halakha for today, Rabotai, is as follows. We know that today, which is Isru Hag of Shavuot, we do not say Tahanun. And the custom is not to say Tahanun for a whole nother week, basically. So the question is, how long and why? No, I'm okay, thanks. And so it's actually interesting. We know that Maran Shulchan Aruch, I've read you the laws of Tahanun many times before from Maran, and he doesn't say many days that we don't say Anna in Maran Shulchan Aruch. We've been through this on Pesach Sheni, we've been through this for Lag BaOmer. These are all really the Ramah, or Moshe Isserlis, that says these days. Maran Shulchan Aruch, if you look at Sivan Kuf Lamed Aleph, he says, again, Na'agu shelo lipol penehem betet vav be'av, tu be'av. Gemara says tu be'av is a very big Yom Tov. V'lo betu b'shvat, v'lo b'rosh chodesh, Hanukkah, and Purim. And then the Maran Shulchan Aruch says, in the next seif, B'chol chodesh Nisan, the whole month of Nisan, we don't say Anna, and not Tisha B'av, and not between Kippur and Sukkot. That's the end of the days for Maran that we don't say Anna.
So he doesn't mention Sivan.
No. The Ramah adds here. V'lo metihilat Rosh Chodesh Sivan ad ahar Shavuot, says the Ramah. We don't say Anna from Rosh Chodesh Sivan until after Shavuot. The Ramah doesn't say 12 days. He just says till Shavuot. Why? And so there's a question amongst the poskim why. First of all, you have the first day of Sivan is Rosh Chodesh. So Rosh Chodesh, anyway, there's no Tahanun. And then you have 6 Sivan in Israel, and 6 and 7 Sivan out of Israel is also Hag. So 1, 6, and 7. So what do you do with days 2, 3, 4, and 5? And so you have...
And then whatever he means after.
Well, he doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't say anything after.
He says ad achei Shavuot.
Maran, again, Ramah says, V'lo metihilat Rosh Chodesh Sivan ad ahar Shavuot. You don't say Anna from the Rosh Chodesh Sivan until after Shavuot. Mashma, after Shavuot, you resume. So we have this concept of the Sheloshet Yimei Hagbala. There are 3 days that we had to prepare for Har Sinai. We had to separate from the wives and make sure we're holy. And so some say, you know what, also the 3 days before the holiday of Shavuot, we should also add those on. So that would be days 3, 4, and 5. We already have 1, 6, 7 over here, 3, 4, and 5. Just throw in number 2 also. Says the Ramah, 1 until 7, 1 until 6 in Israel, 1 until 7 out of Israel, you will not say Tahanun. Now, what would be the reason to not say Tahanun afterwards? So the Mishnah Berurah says, V'yesh mikomot, and who wrote that?
V'yesh mikomot?
No.
Oh, Mishnah Berurah, Chafetz Chaim.
Chafetz Chaim. V'yesh mikomot, noagim shelo lipol kol hashisha yamim she'achar Shavuot. Some have the custom to add 6 more days after Shavuot. Because you had a week to bring the korban of Lo Yireu Fanai Rekam.
In case you got stuck in the road or whatever, you could...
Now it's worth noting, the Kafahim Palaji, not the Kafahim Sofer that we have here, the Kafahim Palaji is from Turkey. He was a great rabbi, a Mikubal. We don't have the Sefer, I have it in my house, we don't have it over here. He writes that the Isru Hag of Shavuot is the most powerful of all the Isru Hags, especially when Shavuot falls out on Shabbat. Because if the Isru Hag of Shavuot, if Shavuot falls out on Shabbat, what do you have to break Shabbat for? To slaughter the animal. You can do it for 7 days. And so Sunday, today, would be Yom Tabuah. It would be a big day of a lot of korbanot of the Lo Yireu Fanai Rekam, because if ever Shavuot fell out on Saturday, they would slaughter it on Sunday. Not if you have a choice. No, if you have no choice, you have no choice. But if you have more days to do it, then you would push it. That's why, remember we said, I don't know if you were there for the Pesach Shi'ur, according to Tosafot, you don't do Korban Hagigah, you don't have the egg on the Seder if it's Shabbat. Because you wouldn't bring the Korban Hagigah on Shabbat. Only if you have no choice, then you break Shabbat. But if you have a choice, if you have more days to do it, you wouldn't break Shabbat. We don't hold like the Tosafot. Right?
But you have the korbanot of the Shabbat, don't you?
Now the korban of Shabbat, the Hiyuv is on Shabbat. But the Hagigah is not. You have a whole week. If you have a choice not to break Shabbat, you don't break Shabbat. If you don't have a choice, you don't. Yeah? So now, So today anyway would be a big day. Sunday, the Isra Hag Shavuot anyway would be a big day. But says the Mishnah Berurah, you would have a week to bring the korban of what do you call it? Of Lo Yelu L'Fanai Lekam. And so we count the 7 days. Shavuot is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that brings it to 12 Sivan. So any one of those days you can technically have brought the korban. So therefore, you should celebrate and not say Ana. What about the other holidays? What about Sukkot and Pesach? Anyway, there's no Ana during those days also, because it's Hol Moed. Maybe even if it wasn't Hol Moed, maybe we wouldn't say Ana on those days of Sukkot and Pesach also. Huh? So Mishnah Berurah says here, Kol hashisha yamim shehachar Shavuot. So the question is in Hus La'aretz. So let's start with Eretz Yisrael, the easiest. In Eretz Yisrael, there's no reason to say to not say Tahanun on 13 Sivan. Absolutely no reason in Israel not to do it.
You have to go by Eretz Yisrael because of the Siba is the Korban.
Very good.
Don't have a Korban over here.
That's a good thought. Yeah, that's what I would think also. So the question is, what do you do over here? Because we have Sifika Diyoma, and yesterday was 7 Sivan, but we still celebrated it. What if 7 Sivan was really the day? And so it should start with 7. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 would finish the 7 days of the Hag. So that's what Yaakov is saying. So in Hus La'aretz, some want to say that really you should go until 13, including 13, only in Hus La'aretz. But I'll tell you a big problem with this. And actually my son was asking me these questions on Shavuot night, and I told him I'd find the Sefer and I'd read it for him. So that's why I'm recording this, just for my son. Rambam in the laws of Kiddush HaChodesh, the calendar is only since Hillel HaZaken we have this calendar set. Rosh Chodesh used to be decided by Edim, by witnesses, seeing the moon, and it would take time for them to go from city to city and tell them, by the way, it's Rosh Chodesh. You should know. They go to different cities. They go to Alexandria. They go to Halab. They go to different places. It takes time to get these places and say that it's Rosh Chodesh, right? And so Rambam says as follows: Shiluchei Nisan u'shluchei Tishrei en yotzin ela b'yom Rosh Chodesh ahad sheta'aleh hashemesh. Let me here. Kol makom sheyayum hashiluchin magi'in. Any place where these messengers from Beit Din announcing the new month reached, if they got there in time, if they're a 1 day distance from Beit Din in Yerushalayim, then they only celebrate 1 day. Syria has a din of like Israel in many, many things, because it's very close to Israel. And David HaMelech annexed it. Syria was annexed much earlier than many other places by David HaMelech in the war. Yeah. So Syria, as an example, we have. There's a whole mahloket whether in Syria we had 2 days or 1 day. Many people hold 1 day in Syria. It has a deen like Eretz Yisrael, Syria. Even when it comes to the law, Rambam even writes that it's a mitzvah to buy land in Syria, maybe even. Almost like Eretz Yisrael. Because it's close to Israel. Mama? Yeah. All the mitzvot of artists, they extend out to Syria because David HaMelech annexed it, right? So I'm very proud of that, yeah. Says Rambam, but if it was a place, if it was a far place, it took too long. Iran, how long by horse to go to Iran? Yeah? They had to do 2 days, because who knows if they got there in time. Says Rambam. Sometimes the messengers for Nisan would get there in time, but not for Tishrei. Why? And I'll tell you that this is the Kehati Rambam that I found. It's the only one we have. I'll read the bottom. He says on the bottom, Mishum sheshiluchet Tishrei ena mehalechim b'Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim. They lose days of travel because they can't travel on the holidays in Tishrei. So we don't even know if they would reach there in time for Tishrei. But Nisan, no problem. You can travel the whole thing.
I don't get the shluchim thing. They see the Chidush HaLevana, they say it's Rosh Chodesh.
They have to go to Beit Din.
Now they go Beit Din.
Now they have to send shluchim everywhere.
Now they have to send shluchim. Yeah. It takes them 3 days to get over there. So they get over there on Gimel.
I don't know. Where'd you come up with 3 days? What 3 days?
How are you going to get from Jerusalem to Iran?
Maybe longer.
So?
Yeah.
So they're not. So they get there. It's already Vav.
Yes.
So what kind of?
This is the Baya. But this is the Baya. Yeah, they find out very late. They couldn't celebrate. They find out that it was Rosh Chodesh. That's why you missed the boat if you're not in Israel.
No,
But they see their own chidush levana.
No.
Each city doesn't have its own bet din.
No. It's decided in
זה
Israel.
מה שאני אומר, לא משולחים.
Hus la'aretz, you can no.
Designated Rosh Chodesh?
No. Only in Israel.
It makes much more sense. They were using avukot, they were using
Torches
fires,
to signal. Yeah.
Right, but Meshulachin, it doesn't make sense. The guy will get there on 15 Nisan. He's going to tell him
Not
it's Rosh
15
Chodesh
Nisan. I don't think that long, but
8 Nisan.
but they would find out after Rosh Chodesh that it was Rosh Chodesh.
And how would they do this every month?
Yeah, but only in Israel. They can't decide in Halab that they saw the moon, so they decided it's Rosh Chodesh in Halab. It doesn't work this way. It's the center of the universe is Yerushalayim.
The bet din in its different cities, outside of Chutz.
No.
The bet din in Chutz La'aretz
Cannot
doesn't
declare Rosh
declare
Chodesh. No.
I think when the Meshulachim, when they're going to, so to speak, the diaspora, it means really to the neighboring. So what, they went to Europe?
No, that's the
they went
avukot.
to,
The avukot is for the near places, but then you have to send someone. You have to send someone all the way to Lebanon. You have to
you
send
send
someone
someone to Italy?
Yes, you have to.
So when will he get there? When would the
That's what we're talking about. That's why it's Safek
By the
Yomah.
time he gets back, he says, oops, I have to turn around because it's Rosh Chodesh
That's
again.
why we say Sifkat Yomah. We have no idea. So all of Hus la'aretz is the same deen. We have no idea if they would have gotten to Poland. Who knows how long it would have taken the guy every month. When Mashiach comes, I don't know what you're going to tell me.
The guy's going to Poland, you tell him it's Rosh Hashanah. By the time he gets
It's the
there,
next Rosh Hashanah.
No, it's Pesach.
Listen to Rambam. Listen to this. Says Rambam, ready for this? Umin hadin hayashi yasu Pesach yom echad. There really is no purpose to have 2 days Pesach in Hutz la'aretz. Shegiu alahim shluchim.
You might as well have 8 days of Pesach.
Well, only the normal. No, only the normal. Why? Because there's no holiday in Nisan. Hit the road in Nisan. Let's go, rapido. Hit the road and get there. Sukkot, we understand there should be 2 days. This is Rambam talking. שהגיעו להם שילוחין וידעו באיזה יום נקבע ראש חודש ויעשו יום טוב של חג הסוכות 2 ימים. Sukkot, I understand. You're losing 3 days in the holiday. שלא הגיע להם שילוחין. וכדי שלא לחלוק במועדות התקינו חכמים שכל מקום שאין שילוחין בתשרי מגיעים שם עושים 2 ימים. The problem is, the whole thing is Tishrei. Because of Tishrei, you lose 3 days, half the time in traveling. All the holidays have to have 2 days. But really, Sukkot should not have 2 days. And Shavuot should not have 2 days as well. Says Rambam, Afilu,
What's the problem?
because Tishrei, they couldn't travel in time.
No, the reason why is Shavuot is the only day that's mathematically
Right.
counted. It's
Yes.
not by the moon.
Says Rambam, yes.
Once you know your second.
Yes, yes.
You can calculate anywhere you are in Poland. You
Yes.
can calculate 50 days later.
Says Rambam, Afilu Yom Tov Shel Aseret, even Aseret is going to have 2 days. It's Afilu, it's a Hidush. There's no Hiluk. Says the bottom, I'll read you the bottom. Afa Pishi Eno Teilu B'Kedusha Chodesh Sivan. Like Babak said. Shavuot has nothing to do with Rosh Chodesh. Ila B'Sfirat HaOmer, just count the days and halas. You don't need to tell. So Shavuot should only be 1 day. Says Rambam in the Halek. And so therefore, it's kind of this would be less of a reason why we should not say Anna on 13 Sivan. Because Sifkat Yomah, come on, Shavuot is not even a Sifkat Yomah. We only do it not to be mehalek between holidays. So number one, what Moshe said, the whole thing that we have 6 more days is because the Korban had 7 days. If there was a Korban, then we wouldn't be in America if there was a Korban, right? And number two, really, there shouldn't even be 2 days in Shavuot in America. Like, we just count 50 days from the second day of Pesach and finish. So it's kind of shvach that you want to say in Hus la'aretz, we should go until 13. But some say that it's still Sifkat Yomah, and therefore, maybe we start counting on Zayin, and like we said on Shavuot night, the Fida Magen Avraham, Halakha follows the BOC. And really, Halakha should be Saturday, really should be Shavuot. Zayin, according to the BOC, is Shavuot. So according to him, you should not say Tahanun because it's 6 more days. One more thing I want to throw in here. Halakha l'maaseh is very gray. But before that, as a Syrian Jew from Aleppo, we never say Tahanun on 13 Sivan because there was a Nes, just for us. There was a miracle called, what was the boy's name? Nusan. The miracle of Nusan. There was a baby boy named Nusan, and they had a libel. They said that the Jews from Aleppo kidnapped him, I think 1853 or 1850, something like this. And they had a libel, and they said the Jews from Aleppo kidnapped and murdered him, and they were going to punish us. And then, pitom, we found the boy. I don't know if they found him alive or they found him dead. You could look it up yourself. And we declared 13 Sivan is a Yom Tov in Halab. So anyway, for us, the miracle of Nusan, put in Google, Nes Shel Nusan. Okay? Yud Gimel Sivan? No Tahanun. Maybe they did this in Halab to try to make it anyway. Since people were doing it anyway, you may as well give them a real reason. I'm not sure. Halakha Ma'aseh, really Hakam David, and all the poskim that you read, they're going to say until 12 ve'ad bichlal. But no, it's going to be hard to find a sefer saying no Anna on 13. But also all the sefarim are written about Israel. You have to find a real American like Rav Moshe Feinstein or American. It's hard to find. Many kehilot, I grew up, like I said, Halabi, we never said Tahanun on 13. In this Beit Knesset, I think we're lenient also. We don't say Tahanun on 13. We don't do it. Chacham Ovadia writes a klal when it comes to Tahanun in his Sefer. And he writes it in the laws of Hashkamat HaBoker, in the section of Tefillah, when you're in a rush and there's no Zman, with the Pu'alim and all this. And he writes a klal, he says, anytime you have a Safek, Safekata Tahanun Likula. Anytime you have a safek, you say Anna, don't say Anna, it's okay. You don't have to say Anna. It's not a hiyuv minadin, and therefore over here we're not going to say Tahanun even on 13 Nisan. By the way, what day of the week is it? Is it Sunday?
So he says, don't say on 13?
We hold in this shul not to. It's not a psak, because it's very, very gray. Every kiylah will have the omen hag. Is 13 Nisan even a weekday hall over here? Is this year? Today is Het. Yom Shishi? This week, Friday? Okay, so on Friday we won't say Anna over here. And if people ask the reason, you tell them the reason why. And if you want to add the Halabi reason, you can add the Halabi reason, the Nes of Nusan as well. But this is going to be a very gray area. Okay.